And then the other film's The Measure of a Man, which I might as well talk about now, I suppose. So The Measure of a Man is a French social realist film by... I need to get the director's name up. I'm so unprepared. It's on the it's up here somewhere. There it is. So it's a French social realist film, and it competed at last year's Palme d'Or. It didn't win, but it did win Best Actor for Vincent Lindon. It's directed by Stephane Brize. The plot is that Thierry has been unemployed for 18 months after losing his job in a factory. He spends the vast majority of his time applying and training for jobs to no avail. So there's like, at the start of the film, he's in a sort of job training office trying to like sort of sort his situation out. He's been doing these training courses for like forklifts and stuff, but they're not the right forklifts. So because he hasn't done the right one, he can't get this job. And it's just a whole thing about like... just bureaucracy getting in the way of things, just sort of small little details that means you can't do this and that. He's got a wife at home, he's got a disabled son who needs extra care, who needs to have money to go to further education, and he's constantly having to sort of degrade himself to do these jobs, so going through interviews on Skype, which he's obviously not comfortable with. He's an older gentleman, so it seems a bit weird doing interviews over the internet, over Skype, and he's constantly being asked if he'll take pay cuts. He's constantly being asked if he'll if he's used certain kinds of machinery before that he's not used before and he's not had the chance to. So really, he's just in such a bad situation. You wonder how things are going to get better for this guy at all. And eventually he gets a job as a security guard in a supermarket, which turns the film on its head completely because it puts him in the position of the people who he disliked before. He's now got to be the one sort of asking these awkward questions and forcing these people to do things they don't want to do. So his job as a security guard means that he has to stay vigilant. He's got to watch out for his staff. He's been told that the supermarket he works at, they've got to make cuts. So basically, if any kind of small discrepancies happen, he's got to kind of get them and probably fire them, and that's his job. So it's an interesting film because obviously it highlights the problems with employment in France, and it's socially economic problems in France. It's something that we saw a few years ago in a film by the Dardenne brothers, 2 Days, One Night, which is Marion Cotillard, and she worked in a factory and they had to make one member of staff redundant, and the only way that she could keep her job is if she convinced all of the members of staff to take a re-vote about who to lose the staff. So that was an interesting film. This kind of follows the same style. There's not a lot of there's no music till the very end, no diegetic music, so all the only music in the film is in the scenes. There's nothing put over the top until the very, very end. Very realist. There's not particularly much sort of visual flair involved. All the shots are handheld, and it's real life unfold as if it was through somebody's, well, not through somebody's eyes, but as if you're in the room with the people with the dialogue is very real. It feels like real conversation. So there's points where this kind of go over the same points, as if it looks as if it's improvised in some parts. So there's a scene where Thierry is trying to sell off his mobile home, and he's trying to negotiate the price with the person who's trying to buy it. And the conversation goes on for quite a long time, and you realise that they're just saying the same things, but it's how a real conversation would play out. And some films wouldn't do it in that way. Some films would just be really sort of punchy, sulking dialogue, whereas this is, it feels genuine. It feels like the actors are really getting behind what they're saying. It doesn't feel like it's been written. It feels like it's these characters, they understand the situation they're in, and they just sort of go with it and ad-lib. And that's what I really like. And there's a scene where Thierry is with fellow unemployed people, and he has to sort of do a mock interview, and they film this interview and sort of look at what parts he could do better and could, improve on. And it just sort of, every little comment that people say about him is just sort of negative, and you sort of watch as he slowly gets less and less confident, because it's all these little criticisms and stuff saying like, your posture could have been better there, and he just, your tone of voice wasn't very good there. You just sort of watch him just slowly collapse, and it's like, what am I doing? Like, how on earth am I going to get out of this situation? So it's interesting to see because it's such a good performance, and it really needs to be because the camera stays on him for pretty much the whole film. Like even in scenes where other people are talking, even in scenes where he's not the focus, especially in the scenes when he's a security guard and he's in the room with the person who they're trying to fire or investigate, and it'll just stay on him, and as he sort of watches the situation, you can see how uncomfortable he is, and we really, really feel his discomfort, and that's what I really like about the film. it's that question, like, if you become the man you've hated, like, what could you possibly do?
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the film. It's probably one of the least exciting films you watch this year. If it's a choice, if it's excitement you want, Sing Street.
Okay.
If it's deep French social realism you want, it's The Measure of Man.
Okay. Well, two of my favourite things are feeling uncomfortable and unexcited. So I think
Right.
you've sold.
Yeah.
You've sold The Measure of a Man.
I honestly didn't think that would work, but
But yeah, I'm up for that, definitely.
yeah. I mean, it's a really interesting film. It's a topic that's been covered quite a lot in France, in particular, and it'll probably be covered across Europe the way things are going with the EU. I'm not going to put my 2 cents in there. I don't really have a 2 cents. I'm just going with the flow. With the flow. I don't really care. I do care, but I don't know what to do. That's The Measure of a Man. And that's that. So I saw that during the week. Actually, I saw that yesterday, and I was quite impressed. And I think a lot of people are just saying it's been done before and it's not really much different to other stuff. But I think it puts it out there, and I think it's really strong because of its performance from Vincent Lindon.
Yeah.
So
I think that's sold. That is the one I'll go and see tonight, I think.
Sweet.
And then I will report back.
Nice. Wait, you can pop back in next week.
I'll just wait. I'll just come back tonight and just wait and just until you turn up next week.